Well, not only does California hate the Second Amendment, but they also apparently hate the First Amendment. And we're going to get into that right after this. I am joined today by my friend Flying Rich. Flying Rich, who runs a YouTube channel, and he knows a little bit about printing, and so do I. Not a lot, but just a little bit. But this lawsuit involves the people of California versus Gatalog Foundation, Inc., a Florida corporation, Control Pew LLC, a a limited get some water. Sorry. Control Pew, Budbusters, and Ivan the Troll.
All right, so Gatalog has nothing to do with Defense Distributed.
No.
And what is their version? Don't they have a similar thing to Gatalog?
Well, they host files.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it.
Okay.
Off. But let Rich read it.
Well, okay then.
So I can cough. All right.
If you want me to read something, it's not up. You got to get it up, Crump. And introduction. The people bring this action against Gatalog Foundation, Control Pew LLC, Alexander Holliday, and Matthew Larassier, and John Ellick, a.k.a. Ivan the Troll. Now I finally know who he is. For unlawfully distributing computer code for 3D printing firearms and prohibited firearm accessories, for promoting and facilitating the unlawful manufacture of 3D printed firearms and firearms accessories in violation of civil code sections, blah, unfair competition law.
Hey, Rich.
Yeah.
Now, if you see their names, just skip it because I know a lot of them won't want their names out there.
All right. California faces a public safety crisis from the proliferation of unserialized, untraceable, and unsafe firearms, commonly called ghost guns, sweeping across the state, and the rise of dangerous firearm accessories such as auto sears, as opposed to the Sears store, which are used to convert semi-automatic firearms into machine guns. In 2015, California law enforcement agencies recovered 26 ghost guns from suspected criminal activity. From 2021 through 2025, they recovered an average of over 11,000 ghost guns and auto sears per year. Now, they didn't change the definition of what a ghost gun was, did they?
No, keep on reading.
Okay. 3D printed guns are a growing subset of ghost guns in California. They are easy to produce with 3D printing equipment and materials readily available for purchase online or at common retailers such as 3D printer and plastic filament and firearm parts widely available for purchase from firearm dealers or part suppliers, and they can be fully assembled in less than a day. California has responded with laws that specifically prohibit 3D printing firearms and prohibited firearm accessories without a license to manufacture firearms since 2023, has also prohibited the distribution of computer code for printing them to those without a license as of January 1st, 2026. It is also unlawful to knowingly, willfully, or recklessly aid, abet, promote, or facilitate the unlawful manufacture of firearms, which includes the manufacture of a firearm using a 3D printer by an unlicensed person.
I just want to stop right there because none of the defendants are in California.
Mm-hmm.
So this, to me, seems like California is saying they didn't follow our California laws, even though that they don't live here.
Like Nicolas Maduro and machine gun laws?
Yeah.
Defendants ignore these prohibitions by making computer code and instructions for producing over 150 different designs of lethal firearms and prohibited firearm accessories available to anyone with access to the internet, including in California. Defendants conduct their illegal activities through two websites they own and control and manage, the Gatalog and controlpew.com. Each website links to profiles that defendants maintain on Odyssey.com, an online video and file sharing platform through which defendants make the code available. To subsidize their operations, defendants also sell merchandise related to 3D printed firearms and solicit donations. The threat posed by defendants' conduct is very real. As part of their investigation, the people used defendants' code to build fully functioning Glock-style handgun. The people downloaded the code and instructions necessary for building this deadly weapon from a defendant's website with a few simple keystrokes. Love the drama. The download was performed by a computer in San Francisco within a California-based IP address. The people bring this action to stop defendants from continuing to the spread of unlawfully printed firearms accessories in California.
Yeah, so the parties is Rabanta, of course, and then you got the Gatalog Foundation, which I find interesting because the Gatalog Foundation was formed in 2021, but the foundation is separate from the Gatalog.com. The Gatalog.com is actually under a different LLC. Gatalog Foundation was like a nonprofit that I don't really ever think did anything.
Okay.
So let's just jump down to 14 because 14 is really interesting.
The plaintiff is not aware of the true names and capacities of defendants sued herein, as does 1 through 100 inclusive, and therefore sues these defendants by such fictitious names. Each fictitiously named defendant is responsible in some manner for the violations of law alleged. Plaintiff will amend this complaint and add true names of the fictitiously named defendants once they are discovered. Whenever references is made in this complaint to defendants, such references shall include does 1 through 100 as well as the named defendants.
So basically, they're going to sue anyone that has any type of files on Gatalog, is what they're saying. So this is like a shot across the bow of everyone. They're going to come for you if you put your files up there. And I do see some people that's in the chat that actually post on they actually have like files on the Gatalog, are part of that community as well.
So if I posted a modification of something, but somebody else copied that and posted it on the Gatalog,
who knows? I mean, with California, I would not put it past them. Then it just goes to the factual background saying that ghost guns evade federal and state law, which
no,
isn't exactly
unless you're in a commie state.
They don't violate federal law at all.
Right.
You're allowed to make your firearms. There's nothing illegal about printing of firearms. It is
unless
not,
you're in California.
Yeah, it is not illegal. And they talk about how it's not serialized, so it makes it hard to trace guns. But if you look at anything, it looks like that tracing doesn't work. Then it goes into stuff about.
Can you stop right there? I want to make sure that it took me a moment to realize what you were saying. Meaning, a serial number on a firearm, doing a serial number on a trace on a firearm does not solve a crime.
No, it usually doesn't prevent any. It definitely doesn't
prevent a crime. Doesn't solve a crime.
It usually doesn't solve a crime. We actually have hard data. I actually got a series coming out on Amaland talking about looking at the actual hard data.
So whether it's a gun that a 4473 was filled out from and legally transferred, or somebody printed it and it has no serial number whatsoever, there is no difference in, finding that it was or was not used in a crime or preventing it from being used in a crime.
It's significantly insignificant.
Wow.
I don't know how I did that, but yeah.
So is this a criminal case or is this a civil case?
This right here, this is a civil case. They're asking for like injunctions and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I don't think that they have, but they go into like historically how it used to be. You know, you used to have to you know kits and stuff like this, but then they they talked about how like the ATF changed their rules, and now everyone's going to 3D printing to get around the rules, which is crazy. But if you look at like number 35, read number 35 and just number 35, just stop there.
California bears a disproportionate share of this national crisis from 2017 to 2021. It was responsible for 55% of nearly 38,000 ghost gun traces reported to the U.S. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. So, how
Well,
do you
well,
trace
well,
38,000 firearms without serial numbers?
well, a lot of them are obfuscated serial numbers, which is what they're not saying. And another thing I'm going to point up, if they have the strongest laws against 3D printed firearms in the country by far, and they're over half of them are in California. I don't think the law is working too bad much.
Yes.
Then it talks about advancement, how 3D printers are getting cheaper and how materials getting cheaper and how slicers are available for free. And that's all you need other than the actual CAD file to produce the firearm.
I think they should sue the electric company because all 3D printers run on electric and not steam or gasoline.
Yeah.
Because them damn electrons. I mean, electrons are deadly. They can kill someone.
It's an easy process, even for novice, to print out the firearm and to build it. And a lot of the codes actually come with instructions how to
What?
complete the build and how like the Gatalog sells parts kits. So it's really then they just go into more stuff. They go all the way back to Deterrence Suspense, which was the old name of the Gatalog before it became the Gatalog. And then they start referencing things like the United Healthcare CEO that was assassinated.
But again, if a Ford car allows somebody to drive drunk, where in a state where drunk driving is illegal, which is every state, is Ford responsible?
No, I don't think so.
This is the same thing. Look, if firearm manufacturers aren't responsible for deaths caused by firearms, how could anybody be responsible for anything caused by instructions on how to build a firearm?
Yeah. Now go to 44.
Digital firearms code files also enable users to easily produce dangerous firearm accessories that can be inserted into or used in conjunction with 3D printed firearms. These include, for example, machine gun conversion devices such as autosears, small devices that modify a gun to fire automatically, large capacity magazines, ammunition feeding devices that hold more than 10 rounds, silencers, devices or attachments that silence or dampen the sound of a gunshot, and multi-burst trigger activators, devices that allow firearm to discharge 2 or more shots in a burst. Indeed, these accessories are generally simple devices that are even more straightforward to print and assemble than firearms.
They keep on reading.
These prohibited accessories pose a serious threat to public safety as they make firearms even more dangerous and lethal by increasing the rate of fire, increasing the capacity to inflict harm, and concealing the shooter. For example, 3D printed firearm used to assassinate United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was fitted with a 3D printed silencer. Prohibited accessories have also often been used in mass shootings to cause a high number of casualties. For example, the bump stock, a type of multi-burst trigger activator. Well, I wouldn't call it that, which replaces a rifle's standard stock and allows a semi-automatic firearm to fire continuously like an M240 saw machine gun.
Yeah, but why are they even bringing up bump stocks?
Gained infamy when it was used by a gunman who killed 60 people and injured hundreds more in Las Vegas in 2017. I call BS on that. That sounded like a saw. Vegas Music Festival, the deadliest mass shooting in modern United States history. For these reasons, many dangerous accessories are illegal to manufacture or possess in California, but users can now manufacture these lethal devices at home to evade detection.
All right, stop right here. Now this is where it's going to get interesting because now they're going to make the Nazi connection.
Nazis? Really? Nazis are 3D printing? 46. The
Yeah,
threat
yeah. Have you
posed.
ever met Control Pew or Fubbusters?
Yeah, I know the guys.
Yeah, I don't think that either one would be accepted into the Nazi party. So let's go ahead and keep on reading.
The threat posed by 3D printed firearms and prohibited firearm accessories is particularly acute in California. In July 23, federal agencies, 2 3D printers, one adorned with swastikas, from the home of San Fernando Valley man who was prohibited from owning firearms due to a prior felony. He had been using the printers to fully assemble fully automatic weapons and had publicly called for the mass murder of Jewish people. December 23, San Francisco resident pled guilty and was sentenced to 6 years in prison for selling ghost guns out of his home to drug dealers and other criminals. Upon arrest, he was found with several untraceable ghost guns, including a fully automatic AR-15 machine gun, AK-47 parts ammunition, 2 3D printers, partridge in a pear tree, milling machine to drill metal gun parts. Between 22 and 25, San Francisco PD recovered approximately 40 guns with 3D printed components, including in conjunction with crimes involving drugs, assaults, thefts, and criminal threats.
You know how many times they've linked those? It's amazing to me how all that stuff happened, and they talk about it, but they don't actually link it back to the catalog in any way.
Right.
They just say, "This
It's like
happened.
stuff happens, but who knows? Could be.
Stuff happened." And well, we
So
don't know
I
if stuff
hope
is related to them. Can they
California's
prove
banned the
it's not
Anarchist
related to them?
Cookbook.
Exactly.
I mean, the Anarchist Cookbook. I mean, what could they tell you to do in that?
So it just goes through. It just goes through like a bunch of different scenarios that has nothing to do with the catalog. They try to confuse and try to like pull on those heartstrings.
Wow.
And Attack Sub has a great point here. Gatalog doesn't even host the files. You're correct. They actually state that in there before you came in there. We talked about that, how they're actually hosted on like Odyssey. And they actually bring up that that the links redirect to Odyssey where the files are actually hosted at.
So you mean Gatalog is an index?
Yeah. Which I think they should have some type of protections because isn't there a federal laws that says like that protects Google and social media platforms and everything for content that's not actually hosted on their site?
So 50?
Yep.
Though several related websites and online profiles, defendants maintain an internet presence through which they distribute computer code and instructions for 3D printing over 130 different firearm models. Defendants make their code and instructions available for easy download by anyone in California. Well, on the internet, not California. Defendants also
California, of course.
Defendants also distribute files for 3D printing prohibited firearms accessories. These include, for example, autoseers, large capacity magazines, silencers, various accessories attachments, or devices that may be used to render a firearm an illegal assault weapon. Defendants sell merchandise, take donations, maintain affiliate links, and sell firearm parts kits designed to complete 3D printed firearms. God bless America. That's how it should be. The Gatalog website. Defendants maintain a website, https, thegatalog.com, called The Gatalog. The Gatalog website is simple. Homepage contains a website header and 10 different links. Each link correlates to a category of files for 3D printed firearm related items. For example, printable frames and receivers relates to the printing of firearm frames and receivers. And 3D printable magazines relates to files for 3D printing magazines. Below is a snapshot of the Gatalog homepage.
Yeah, and then it goes into their Odyssey profile. We said the Gatalog doesn't actually host any files; it's all hosted on Odyssey. And now they're gonna go down to Odyssey, um, and they're gonna go with the link to from the Gatalog goes to like what's it linked to on Odyssey. Then it goes into how like the Odyssey shares a profile picture, so therefore they have to be connected. I'm not saying that they're not connected. I'm just saying that's a dumb way of looking at it.
Yes, it's a very dumb way that they do these things.
Yeah, and they talked about how like what's actually in the file. There's instructions and blah blah blah. Get to 62 though.
Defendants strictly control the files disseminated through the Gatalog's website and the associated Odyssey profiles, while defendants make available a beta program for users to share and test their code files. They make clear that they will only distribute the final, single released and proven package of files containing third-party verified models and documentation containing thorough build details and instructions. File must be approved by Gatalog leadership before they are made available on the Gatalog Odyssey profiles. Defendants make clear that their goal is to ensure that only the final verified files live forever. When some randomly completed disconnected person finds the files, they're able to construct them successfully.
Keep on going.
Though the Odyssey profiles, defendants disseminate files for manufacturing or producing over 130 different models of 3D printed firearms. These include designs for various semi-automatic handguns and rifles. The vast majorities of defendants' 3D printed firearm models, over 115, are made available through the Gatalog's printable frames and receivers profile. These files distributed through the Gatalog's printable frames and receivers profile contain digital code for frames and receivers of firearms, and in many cases contain detailed instructions on how 3D printed components can be combined with other purchased parts, including those sold by the defendants, to produce a functional weapon. Below is a snapshot of the Gatalog's printable frames and receivers. One of the printable
So it goes, yeah, go ahead and read that.
frame and receiver designs distributed by the Gatalog is the FDMA DD19.2, a 3D printable Glock frame. The FD blah is designed based on the Glock 19 model handgun. A version of the FDMA or FMDA DD19.2 was used in the killing of United Healthcare CEO in December 2024. Below is a snapshot.
So it tells you about like how they said you can read it. All right, here read 69 because this is kind of interesting.
Another one of the printable frame or receiver designs is the GAG-19, described as California compliant. Oh, CAG. So CAG-19. California compliant Glock 19 based carbine kit. As suggested by the name, the design is specifically directed to California residents. The instructions state that the design is legal in California and that the project is aimed to provide Californians with the entire legal process to print and assemble California compliant Glock 19 carbine. However, 3D printing such a firearm without a manufacturer's license is legal by California law. Several defendants' Odyssey profiles contain files for so-called fully printed projects, which are firearms that are designed to have most of their parts produced through 3D printing. These designs can be found in the Gatalog's hybrid designs and the Gatalog's primarily printed designs profile, which together contain over 15 different designs. As with printable firearms and receivers, defendants make available both digital code for 3D printing the firearm and parts and provide instructions for assembling the firearm.
Now we're gonna get into the hybrid designs for the FGC9, which is
F
uh
gun control.
yeah, it's fucking Control 9. It was uh made by uh, by a very famous 3D printer from Germany who sadly passed away. Uh, Jay Stark,
During a raid, during a
or,
police raid.
Jay Stark.
So one of the Gatalog's hybrid designs, the FGC9s, FGC stands for F gun control, and the FGC9 has been linked to violent criminals and extremists.
What they're talking
No,
about, I don't think they're criminals and extremists. In Myanmar, which is also known as Burma, the resistance to the military junta there uses FGC9s because the Myanmar is known as the Hermit Kingdom because the military have absolute power and they're really, really brutal and evil. So these are like the people that are using the FGC9s in Myanmar are like true freedom fighters.
but so also in 71 here, they don't say n number of deaths have been attributed to the FGC9.
No,
They're blustering.
yeah. But keep on going.
So as defendants claim on their Control Pew website, discussed further below, by owning an untraceable firearm like the FGC9, individuals can have a veto power on par with their government and become ungovernable.
Which is
The
kind of
file-
what the founding fathers kind of wanted.
Yes, the file includes not just the digital code to print the FGC9, but also a detailed 110-page guide that provides recommending settings for slicer software, a timetable on how much time each build is expected to take and how much material it was used, and a step-by-step instructions to combine the various printed components into the final product, a semi-automatic firearm that is described as the most effective and easiest to build homemade semi-automatic firearm design for people with limited access to gunsmithing knowledge and tools. My favorite part is the electro-etched barrel that allows you to chemically etch lands into a piece of metal.
Yeah, go down to 73.
Through the Gatalog's accessories profile, defendants' code files include several designs for an auto sear, which can be used easily to convert a handgun or rifle to fire automatically as a machine gun. For example, the Make Glock's full auto Glock auto sear can be used to print an auto sear using the files provided by the defendants that can be then inserted into certain Glock handguns to convert them into a machine gun. As another example, the Yankee Boogle 3D printable AR-15 full auto mod Swift Link can be used to convert virtually any AR-15 semi-automatic rifle into a machine gun. The AutoSear files include the digital code for printing the item as well as instructions for purchasing any additional parts, installing the AutoSear into the firearm. Below is a snapshot of a photograph on the Make Glock's Full Auto AutoSear Odyssey page. The AutoSear is reflective orange.
Yeah, so then they talk about magazines as well, blah, blah, blah.
Not the magazines.
And how, like, the defendant file can be used to produce functional firearms, which I think they've already said multiple times. So it talks about what they did. Then they go into the Control Pew website.
So the defendants maintain another website, controlpew.com, that complements and expands upon the Gatalog's illegal distribution of firearm manufacturing code. The corporate entity, Control Pew LLC.
Yeah, I don't want to. I know they don't like they're using their real names. So.
Yeah, it was formed in 2020. The name Control Pew stands for 3D printing weapons. Control refers to the keyboard, and Pew stands for print every weapon. The Gatalog website links to Control Pew website. Control Pew website in turn links to 3D printing files for firearms and accessories available for download on the Gatalog Odyssey profiles. The homepage invites users to browse all Gatalog releases, includes a search function for search the Gatalog. Users can also access these files through sections called file drops. These files are divided into 7 post categories that correspond to the names of
All right.
Odyssey
This
profiles.
is basically the same thing. It just talks about how this lets people know how to use 3D printers, blah, blah, blah. But we're going to go to section F.
Which the knowledge of using a 3D printer can be found anywhere, and
Exactly.
it is not specific to the device that you're printing. 93?
Yeah.
The individual defendants are principals in the corporate entities associated with defendants' activities. They also actively contribute to those activities by developing their own digital firearm manufacturing code and making it available for download on the Gatalog's Odyssey profiles. Defendant Holiday is the treasurer of the Gatalog and manager of Control Pew. He develops his own designs for 3D printing and 3D printed firearms and 3D printed firearm accessories. Posts his designs available on Control Pew's website under the handle with links. Defendant has 6 designs posted on Control Pew available for download on Odyssey, including frames and receivers and silencer. Defendant, can I say his name?
Yeah. I don't think
Larassier, the president and registered agent of Gatalog. He also develops his own designs for 3D printed firearms.
Larassier.
The handle Fudbusters, or his name Matt Larassier. There are 2 printable frame and receiver designs attributed to the defendant Larassier on Control Pew with linked files available for download on the Gatalog Odyssey profiles. Defendant director Gatalog develops his own 3D printed designs. So Ivan, they're talking about Ivan and Control Pew, cause of action, blah. Okay.
All right. So this is what they want. So basically, they were saying this is the violating California law. They're not in California, so F them.
Right. So the people alleged incorporate, reference each paragraphs above, fully set forth herein under code. This is all BS.
Right, this is all legalese.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go down to prayer for a little. Really.
Okay. Wherefore, plaintiff prays for judgment as follows: that the civil section of code, defendants and their successor agents, representatives, employees, assigns, and all persons who act in concert with them be enjoined in a manner sufficient to prevent any defendant from further violating the law, including preliminary and permanent injunctive relief. That under civil code blah, defendants and their successor agents, representatives, employees, assigns, all persons who act in concert with them be enjoined in a manner sufficient to prevent defendant. Doesn't that say the same thing as the first? Anyhow. Under business, okay, so it's under civil code section. I got it. And under business, professions code, defendants, their successors, representatives, assigned. Keep going. Violation not limited to acts, practices alleged in this complaint. That the court makes such orders or judgments as may be necessary, including for preliminary injunctive relief, to prevent the use or employment by any defendant of any practice which constitutes unfair competition or which may be necessary to restore any person in interest any money or property or real personal which may have been acquired by means such as unfair competition under the authority of the Business Process Code section 1703. Can we pause there and to understand what section 4 says?
Yeah.
Basically, any monetary gains they've made, they have to forfeit. Is that what that's saying?
Yeah, basically they want them to turn it over.
Okay.
And
fine.
This is where they want the penalty.
Okay, so they want a $25,000 penalty against each defendant for each violation. Now, how do they determine what a violation is?
Like they're probably going to try to get to see how many people from California access the files and 25,000.
So, in other words, if somebody downloaded it in
Yeah, so
California,
they can get real expensive real fast.
as opposed to actually make a device, it's all right. So the court assess civil penalty to each defendant. The court assess civil penalty against each defendant. Business blah. The court award the remedy of disgorgement in an amount according to proof under authority of government code. I don't know what that means.
Whatever the court additional fees that
Oh, okay. So if as many times 25K plus additional fees that
whatever
the
the court
people
decides.
and pay us for our legal costs, because we're not going to rug pull you just before you get a judgment.
Yeah. So basically they want all that. And that is it.
So they haven't said, other than themselves illegally downloading and printing a firearm, that anyone in California illegally downloaded or printed a firearm because of them.
Yep.
So, Crump, if let's just say in the state of Virginia, if selling cocaine and possessing cocaine is illegal, and I tell you where to buy cocaine and you buy cocaine, am I in trouble also?
Probably.
Okay.
Honestly. But somebody asked earlier on, I think this is a good question. Didn't New Jersey already do that? New Jersey tried to do this against Defense Distributed. One of the things that California is going to have to fight is that I don't think this is a Second Amendment case. I don't think this is a Second Amendment case. I think this is a First Amendment case.
This is clearly a First Amendment case, and there are so unless you go to certain colleges, you're probably not going to get a recipe to make an atomic bomb. But the anarchist cookbook, that there's probably several copies in every library in the country, clearly go through how to manufacture certain energetics. And that was like a rite of passage in high school to take out the anarchist cookbook.
Yep.
So, but I guess because who was the anarchist cookbook written by? Was it a bunch of UCLA professors?
Yeah, I don't think there wasn't like a single person.
Yeah.
Most of the shit in there don't work, so don't try it, because you're going to end up hurting yourself more than anyone else. You know?
Right. I am not advertising and promoting this thing. What I'm saying is
the actual guy that put it together was a guy named William Powell, though. But he basically pulled it from a bunch of different places.
Gotcha.
But he was the guy that put them together. But I don't think that he came up with his own stuff. LD has entered the studio. What's up, Dark? You always come in right when we're getting ready to wrap up.
No voice, no audio, man.
I can't hear you. You have no sound. No sound, Dark. Is your mic on? I don't know. Something's going on. But
why don't you just call me? I'll put it on speakerphone.
No, he's good. I don't want to do that. That's tacky. And doesn't sound good anyway. One of the things, though, Dark, is we were going to your channel, but somehow it ended on your channel.
Yeah, he sent me a text about that, saying that why did it end?
I don't know. It just said popped up as this ended on this channel, so I'm not really sure why.
So they're going after Control Pew, Ivan the Troll, Fudbusters for both the Gatalog and ControlPew.com.
Correct.
Now, it doesn't seem like they asked for the websites to be pulled down.
No, they want to, because they know they can't do that.
But they're asking, so what they're asking for is financial damages.
Financial damages, and also probably to block IPs from California. That's what they're gonna ask for.
But and again, just like the Matt Hoover case where it was a victimless crime, if no one's actually printed something that they saw on the Gatalog or was so again
They're saying the crime is they're saying that the charge is the download of the file.
but they're not downloading it.
They
Oh,
you. Dark.
well, wait. Did they say in a couple of cases there
Restart your
were?
browser, Dark.
We don't hear you. So are they? Initially, they're talking about the Gatalog, pointing them to Odyssey for downloads. But in a couple of instances, did they mention you can directly get a file from controlpew.com?
Well, they say they're linked. They said there's 6 files on there that are linked.
I
try to say something. No sound. Try to put on your computer mic.
All right, don't worry about it. I say if you jump it on your phone, it'll probably work.
Yeah.
So
log in through your phone.
Crump, there's one thing that's sticking in my head that I don't want to say out loud because I don't want to give anybody any ideas, but I want to ask you later.
All right. Well, we can. I know a lot of people are going to be wondering, well, how can we support these guys? I'm not going to tell you should support them because that would violate YouTube service. But I bet you a bunch of people will be going to like their website and buying stuff off there.
Can you hear me?
So yeah.
That's so weird. I didn't do anything. I just backed out and came back in. I'm sorry, y'all. I know that's a huge pain.
Yeah, the stream ended on your stream for some reason.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. I was sitting on there. I wasn't watching chat or anything. I just kind of had it sitting up, and it was like the uploader has removed this. I was like, oh no, did YouTube hit me with a strike? Either way, here's what the way I look at it. California has made the building of unserialized frames and receivers and firearms illegal, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Californians, the residents, are continuing to build firearms without serial numbers on the frames and receivers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so the law is ineffective. So instead of just holding their residents accountable for breaking the laws, which we all disagree with those laws, they're now blaming other people in the country in different states because they have access to the internet. Like, this is so gay. This is where people that are in these the positions of leadership that think they can reach out and just destroy people's lives because they fundamentally disagree with them. This is honestly,
but the process is the punishment.
Guys,
of
I just
course.
noticed something. I think something's going on here because I just saw it just ended on John Crump live and it ended on Rich.
I just saw up at the top it changed.
Yeah.
The destinations changed.
Yeah, well, you get the pop up
Oh,
that said, ended. You know what I'm saying?
Well, why would we're talking news? Why would this end?
I don't know. I don't know.
California is the almighty. Yeah, it's unfortunate for even the people that try to follow all of the laws.
Yeah, it's completely gone from my channel.
You see?
Something else.
Which now?
It just canned something else. Something's going on with StreamYard, dude.
Yeah, it just ended on Twitch too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So now we're only going to 3 locations from
8. It just ended on John Crump News.
It did?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Dude, the issue here is that they have no rights to reach outside of their state for any reason at all. And this whole thing that just occurred on January 1st, although unrelated but similar, the state of California said if anyone else in the country at all, anywhere, Sorry, my printer literally just stopped it. If it was loud, I apologize.
Didn't
Because
hear it.
Hey, I'm gonna end this really fast because we're down to 2 forces now.
All right, let me just finish this one thought. If it goes down, it will. But real quick, they just made this new law that anyone else in the country, anywhere, if you sell any kind of accessory or item at all to the state of California and ship it without following their ridiculous list of rules, you can get fined up to like $10,000 or $25,000 per violation for shipping something like a Streamlight TLR1 to California. That's how ridiculous they're being. This is insane.
Yep. We're gonna end this because now we're down to 1.
We're down to 87 people in here. That's
Yeah, because it
insane.
killed a bunch of our other places. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna end this before and I'm gonna lose the whole entire stream. Sorry about it.
Thank you. Love you. Bye bye.